I mean, you said with this project, your success almost worked against you because I believe, Todd Howard wasn't sure with, such a recognizable voice.
Wasn't sure is a very kind way to put it. Flat said no.
Okay.
Rolled his eyes is my favorite part.
I've had run-ins with these guys before. Trust me, it ain't a walk in the park.
Well, let's talk about Indiana Jones. Obviously, incredibly iconic role. So what was it like stepping into that role and finding that voice? Did that take quite a long time? Was it an easy process?
No, it wasn't easy at all. One of the most terrifying, most challenging jobs I've ever had. And I think that, people have asked me, what was your process like of getting ready? I was like, well, that didn't serve me, or at least not completely, because I've talked about this a lot, and I will continue to do so because it's a fun story. I love talking about my failure. Wake up every morning and I would watch Raiders.
Yeah.
I would walk to set listening to John Williams' score. If we were going to do a scene with Gina, I was listening to Marion's theme because we didn't have Gordy's amazing score yet. Or if we were doing something that was very mysterious and we were, it was something about, finding treasure, I would listen to the Map Room cue from John Williams and Raiders, which is one of my favorite scores of all time. I would spend lunch watching Temple. I would go home and I would watch Last Crusade. I would rinse and repeat. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And I got so inundated, and I thought that was going to be my way. I was going to carefully craft and calculate my way through this role. And then it wasn't working, and I was struggling and really kind of being crushed under the weight of the character. And then I remembered there's a line in Raiders where Indy goes, "I don't know, I'm making this up as I go." And I was like, oh no, I can't approach this in that carefully crafted, calculating way. I have to let it go. And Tom Keegan, I have to give him a lot of credit. He was our performance director, and he goes, just trust that it'll be there. Trust that you've done the work. And also remember, there's a lot of people working on this game.
Yeah.
And I was like, it wasn't until I visited the team and actually got to sit with the animation director and be able to kind of look in the pit and go, can I show you what this is going to look like? I'm like, oh, I have Harrison Ford's face.
Yeah.
That helps.
What was that like? That was a big...
It was funny because, we're not one-to-one. He's way better looking. And so there's times when you'll see a little bit more of my face and a little bit more of Harrison Ford's face, and kind of like, there's a new Indy because of how his face maps onto mine. It was pretty incredible to watch.
Yeah.
But it was realizing that I wasn't on that high wire alone. I wasn't working without a net, that I had an incredible team of people back at the studio that were supporting me. And once I did that, I let go and I make it up as I go.
And of course, it wasn't just the voice, you're also doing all the kind of motion capture and everything. So what was that process like as well?
It's very, I say this very trepidatiously, there's not a silver bullet way to do cinematics in a video game.
Yeah.
Every team is different. And I strongly encourage people to find their own way. But specifically for the way that we needed to make this game, to have the look that people recognize instantly, that kind of cinematography, like Doug Slocum shot Raiders for 81. We needed to bring that aesthetic in there. So it became very important that we shoot this as if we were shooting a movie.
I mean, you said with this project, your success almost worked against you because I believe, Todd Howard wasn't sure with, such a recognizable voice.
Wasn't sure is a very kind way to put it. Flat said no.
Okay.
Rolled his eyes is my favorite part. Him going,
Have you spoken since about that, or?
No, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I've had to be believe it or not, be very judicious about the opportunities that come my way. And I originally said no to this as well.
Yeah.
So I think Todd and I were very lined up with that. Todd was doing it out of, being a very experienced and wise studio head and going, I don't want that to be, can we not find someone who's new? Is there some rock we haven't looked under? Don't just throw Troy Baker at it because we know that he can do it.
Right. Isn't that a good thing though?
It is a good thing, but I understand the position he was coming from. The reason why I rejected it was out of fear,
Sure.
because I was afraid I was going to fail. And that is, as I've learned, is a huge insult to the people that are more experienced than I am to go, we think you can do this. And fortunately, Tom was willing to look past my arrogance, and Todd Howard was willing to look past my success and go, if we do this right, he's the right guy.
Are there any roles that you know, either weren't able to make happen or you did turn down that you regret?
I don't regret anything. There's definitely mistakes that I've made, and I've learned from them. I'm like, we'll never do that again. But I think more often than not, those happen on the jobs that I got. And there's a lot of mistakes. I'm like, a matter of fact, there was one day on Indiana Jones where, you know, when you're making a game, it's not like, okay, here's our script and we're shooting this page and this is our shot and this is our setup. It's, okay, we know at some point we're going to do this. And this is a scene that sets up that thing that we haven't built this yet. So you're being asked to cross a bridge where you're laying the planks as you go. There was a day on set where we hadn't quite figured out this thing, but I had to add my specificity. I had to, it's like, I'm looking at something that's not there. And I remembered the story with Ian McKellen where he was like, I'm working with people that aren't here. And that can be very frustrating.
Yeah.
And I had that moment where I was like, this should have been figured out before now. And I said those words. And I remember looking over at Tom Keegan and he goes, well, that's not helpful. And I realized in that moment, I was like, man, I'm not the only one here. It's not like everyone's not doing their best. There's always a mistake that I made. And I realized like, that's not the way that I want to work. That's not the way that I should work. And fortunately, they looked past that mistake and we found a better way to work.
You must get sent many projects, you know, big projects, small projects. I know you've got Mouse Beehive for Hire. How do you choose what you're going to be and what kind of things do you look out for?
They chose me. It's funny because very rare do I have like a game that I see a trailer for that later they're like, hey, you want to be in this? And that's starting to happen more and more. I really, really like supporting indie game devs. And any chance that I get to kind of signal boost or leg up them, I do it. And they came to me, they were like, do you think you would want to? Like, I would love to. Those are my favorite opportunities is when, you know, people come to me and they go, I think you could do this. And if I'm not, I learned this from Neil Druckmann, if my hands aren't shaking a little bit, then I probably should say no. But if my hands are shaking, I've got to say yes.
That's an interesting tell. Now people will just be looking for when your hands are shaking. I mean, you mentioning Neil there, what was it like going back to work with Naughty Dog for Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet?
That's family.
Yeah.
You know, they always impress me. Like it would be easy to rest on their laurels and to go, let's just keep cranking these out. I think that Neil is one of the most intelligent, passionate, daring, brave people working in this industry. That is so hell-bent on making something of quality that he'll do anything to hold that standard. And I gotta say, Tati Gabriel is amazing. And boy, does she just find herself at home right away. She's incredible. And I think that, you know, we'll see more of the game as we get closer. I think it's the most ambitious thing that Naughty Dog has ever done.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's saying something.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
AI, obviously, continuing topic each time, you know, we go about talking about these kind of things. But I wonder what your sort of insights are on it as an actor and how you feel about, you know, previously I know you were kind of quite for maybe very small studios maybe being able to use the tools. I don't know if you've changed in that view at all or what you think about it now.
Yeah, I think my arguments was mischaracterized maybe at first. Here's what I know. It's an incredibly nuanced conversation. And we can sit here and talk about it all day. We're not going to solve anything. But what I have seen is that art is a human expression, period. we don't have to worry about the debate about whether or not it's, AI is creating art or not. No, relax. It's not. It can create content at a blindingly fast rate. I understand the economic impact of that. I'm going to leave that to the people that worry about that. My focus is, how do I create art? And if we've established that art is a human expression, no one's coming for my job. This is what I do. And there's a lot of people that can fight a multi-front battle and go, oh, I'm going to legislate over here, and I'm going to lobby over here, and I'm going to also work over here. I've learned this about me. I learned this from working on Great Circle, is that I have to remain focused on this. If I look to my left or my right, I'm no longer serving the story. I'm no longer serving the character. So I focus on this. And I trust the people who are making this thing, that if there's a tool that they can use that can help the process, then maybe that's a good tool. If it's going to replace a process, sure. It's going to replace a person, maybe not. But my focus is always make the art.
And talking about making art, you've said you're interested in making your own stories as well. What might that look like?
Scary.
Mm.
It's so funny to talk to, all of my, friends on the studio side and developers and go, what have you not learned from us? Don't do this. But I think that, having worked in this industry now for 20 years, I've learned so much from some of the greatest people. Look who I've worked with. It's insane to have access to these people, and to be able to have this buffet of wisdom to go, do this and this and this, and proliferate that, is exciting to me. So right now we're, assembling this very, very small team of highly motivated and talented people, and beginning to see what that would look like. What does a story that I want to tell look like, and who can I tell that with?